Welcome to Workers Rock, a podcast that explores this truth that we have the power to change the culture of employment across the globe. I'm Emigrated Miller, the host of Workers Rock. Workers Rock is part of the Labor Radio Podcast Network. All right. Well, welcome to Workers Rock. My name is Emigrated Miller, episode 7. We're here with Fernando, who is a dairy worker in upstate New York. We're talking about the fight for equity in the workplace when it comes to farm workers. We also have Carlos Aguirre as the Spanish interpreter. How are you, Fernando?
Bien, muy bien.
Well, doing well.
Okay. All right. Thank you for joining Workers Rock today. So we're going to talk about your trade, what you do. How long have you been a dairy worker in upstate New York?
Prácticamente ya 20 años trabajando en lo que es la industria de las lecherías
Practically now it has been 20 years working in the dairy industry
aquí en Nueva York.
right here in New York.
Where did you move from? What's your home country?
De México, del estado de Oaxaca.
I'm from Mexico, originally from the state of Oaxaca.
All right. So there have been changes to the working conditions for farm workers overall in New York State, especially since 2019. But what was it like for you when you first started on the farm compared to now?
Bueno, ha habido muchos cambios alrededor de estos 20 años. Al principio, cuando yo inicié,
Well, there have been a lot of changes in the last 20 years compared to at the beginning when I started.
las condiciones de trabajo ha cambiado. No son las adecuadas, pero sí va mejorando.
The working conditions have changed. They're not the most adequate, but they are getting better.
Y todo tiene que ver porque, bueno, las leyes han cambiado ahorita en los últimos 4 años.
That also has to do with the laws changing in the last 4 years.
Aunque no se compara la agricultura con otras industrias,
Although you can't compare agriculture with other industries.
Why not?
bueno, porque el límite de horas que uno trabaja en la agricultura es pesado, son 12 horas al día.
Well, because of the limit in hours that you work in farming, I mean, it's 12-hour days.
Wow.
También el salario es bajo, es el más bajo que uno gana.
There's also a low salary. It's the lowest we earn.
Do you ever get raises besides the minimum wage going up?
Sí, con los años que uno lleva trabajando y con la experiencia que uno va ganando año tras año, a veces uno gana un poquito más del salario mínimo.
Well, yeah, with the experience and all the years that you put into this, sometimes, you do end up making a little bit more than minimum wage.
Do any of your colleagues live on premises? Where do your colleagues live?
Sí, en la agricultura o en las lecherías, todos los trabajadores viven en las casas que son proveídas por el rancho. Es como muy cerca del rancho.
Yes, in agriculture and dairy, the employees, the workers, they live on the houses provided by the rancher. They are all very close to the location of the ranch itself.
Do you pay rent?
Prácticamente sí, prácticamente ganamos un poco menos para que el patrón no nos paga completo. Tal vez un ejemplo sería si yo gano $20, me paga 17 para yo no pagar la renta yo, sino que él va pagando la renta.
Yes, you could say so. I mean, we don't get our full paycheck. That way he can take the money from it for the rent so that we don't pay it and he does. So, for example, if I get paid $20, I don't get $20. I get $17, and then he takes the other $3 for the rent. That way, like, he pays for it and not us.
Interesting. Now, tell me about 12-hour day is a long time, you know. What is it like for you physically to go through this work schedule?
Bueno, es muy difícil y es muy pesado el horario por el clima, porque uno camina todo el día con botas pesadas en el frío, tiene uno que usar ropa muy pesada también y gruesa.
Well, it's very difficult because, I mean, during the time over here, you gotta work with heavy boots. You always walking. The weather really gets to you, and when it's winter, then you have to wear a lot of clothing to keep you warm.
So, what happens if you want to take a day off to rest? If you want to take a day off, do you get paid for it?
Eh, bueno, normalmente tenemos un día libre a la semana. Si te tomas otro día extra, no se te paga.
Well, we normally get 1 day off a week. If you take another one, you don't get paid.
So, no vacation throughout the year? Do you have a vacation week where you don't work but you get paid?
Ahorita ha habido un cambio después del 2020 para acá, que
Since
ya
2022 here, we have had a change
muchos ranchos ofrecen una semana de vacaciones pagadas
where many of the ranch will now offer a 1 week paid vacation.
y también 3 días como días personales al año para descansar.
And also 3 personal days a year so that you can rest.
What about health care? How do you see a doctor?
Bueno, en cuestión de salud, uno tiene que pagar de nuestra bolsa si nos enfermamos.
Well, with respect to health, if we get sick, we gotta pay out of our own pocket.
Porque en lo que es nuestro trabajo no tenemos un seguro médico que nos cubre cualquier enfermedad o cualquier cita médica para chequeos o exámenes físicos.
We don't get any kind of insurance or anything for healthcare where we get covered for going to the doctors or checkups or anything like that. We gotta pay out of pocket.
With the Farm Laborers Fair Labor Practices Act, here as of January 1, 2024, if you work more than 56 hours in a week, you get overtime. Is that considered a win?
Bueno, a partir del 2020 fueron 60 horas, después de 60 horas, entonces ahorita en el 2024 ya son 56 horas y después tiempo extra. Es una ganancia porque se está viendo un poquito la diferencia.
Well, in 2020, you would only get uh, overtime after 60 hours. Right now, it's after 56. Hopefully, in the future, it would be less. So, yeah, I mean, I think it is a win. Well, for you to get overtime after that.
También, también una de las estrategias es de que eh, como ahora el límite de horas son 56, a veces el patrón te da un poco menos horas para que tú no puedas ganar mucho en tiempo extra.
The situation now is because the hours got dropped to 56, the boss may not give you past 56 hours, so they don't pay you extra.
Hay muchos ranchos que sí los pagan y hay muchos que es una estrategia para porque siempre los rancheros han tenido la excusa de que su rancho va a ir a la quiebra, que su economía va para abajo si ellos pagan mucho tiempo extra.
Plenty of them do pay the overtime, but also plenty of them, play the part, using that as to not pay for the overtime, and then using also the fact that, well, if the ranch is gonna go broke, if we pay additional money and our economy is going down.
Right. Fernando, we're using the name Fernando. You're an organizer, but we decided to protect you. Tell me, Fernando, are you a part of like an organization that's working toward helping farm workers and their rights?
Sí, yo, bueno, soy uno de los líderes de la organización Alianza Agrícola y eh, pues nuestro rol es de que eh, informamos a los compañeros trabajadores sobre sus derechos y para que ellos toman poder y abogar por ellos mismos.
Well, yeah, I'm one of the leaders of the Alianza Agrícola organization, which is one that helps organize and inform farm workers about their rights and how to get better.
Now, how is it to communicate? You talk by phone, you email, do you meet in person?
Eh, Nos reunimos una vez al mes y también en persona y también usamos las redes sociales y las mensajería, WhatsApp.
Well, we meet once a month. We also sometimes meet online, social media, so usually in person, but we also utilize the social media and all of those kind of networks.
Okay. What are you looking to change?
Bueno, estamos intentando que respeten nuestro derecho como trabajador, que reconozcan nuestro trabajo y que nos den el valor que merecemos.
Well, we're trying to safeguard our rights as workers and to be able to be valued as such and to be able to have a safe job.
También mejorar las condiciones, también mejorar los salarios.
Also to better conditions and salaries.
Right? Right? Um Before COVID, did you work every day?
Antes de COVID trabajamos todos los días, yo trabajaba todos los días durante COVID, toda la industria trabajó todos los días y seguimos trabajando todos los días.
I worked every day before COVID. I worked every day during COVID because the industry never stopped, and I'm working
Mm.
every day today.
Did you ever catch COVID?
Sí, yo tuve COVID ya 2 veces, entonces, bueno, prácticamente el lugar donde yo trabajo, por los años que llevo y por la experiencia que tengo, sí pude tomar unos días para pasar en mi casa enfermo.
Yes, I had COVID twice. Now, due to the length of time that I and the place where I work for all that time, they allow me to take a couple of days for me to be able to get better at home.
Did they pay you for it?
Como solamente tenemos 3 días de personales y 3 días de enfermedad al año, entonces solamente gané como 3 días pagados y los demás días no.
Since we only get 3 sick days and 3 personal days, then I basically only got paid for 3 days, but not the rest.
Mm. What did you see during the pandemic? Like, what was it like for your family and friends?
Bueno, era algo muy, eh, creo que fue algo nuevo que mucha gente no puso tanta atención hasta que no vio que el COVID era algo serio.
Well, I mean, I think a lot of people didn't pay attention to it until later on that we saw that COVID was serious.
Mm.
Y bueno, la mayoría de los patrones eh, no dieron como protecciones a los trabajadores, no dieron el equipo necesario, no dieron eh, herramientas, ¿no? Para protegernos.
And most of the bosses did not provide with the equipment necessary to be able to protect ourselves, like the things that we would be able to need for it.
Like no masks? Like when did you get masks? How long into COVID?
Bueno, nosotros en nuestro trabajo no nos dieron máscaras y en muchos trabajos no dieron máscara. Creo que la misma gente y los mismos trabajadores buscamos máscaras por nuestra propia cuenta y nos cuidábamos por nuestra propia cuenta.
Well, in my job and many of the other ranches, they did not provide us with any masks. I believe, in fact, that it was the workers themselves who will go and get the whatever they could do to use precautions to be able to get masks and stuff like that for work.
Hmm. What is the hardest farm work job? Like you do dairy work, there's apples. What's the most difficult one?
Bueno, la ventaja del trabajo de la producción de manzanas o la producción de vegetales y frutas es que es una temporada.
Well, the benefit of apples or vegetable farming, for example, is it's one season.
Hmm.
En las lecherías el trabajo es todos los días, día y noche.
Wow. At the milk dairies, the job is every day, day and night.
Y lo más pesado es que pues es un trabajo físico, ¿no? Y es el cansancio, es se agota el cuerpo y hay lesiones, hay fracturas que no se curan.
And the heaviest part is this is a very physically demanding job, and there are injuries and things that just don't get fixed.
Right. So, are you looking into unionizing? What's your thought and process on that?
Bueno, ahorita con la nueva ley que tenemos a nuestro favor, nos da el derecho a organizar.
Well, right now, with a
eh,
new law that we have in our favor, it provides us with the right to organize.
Nos da también el derecho a abogar pues de manera organizada por cambios que queremos y sería muy bueno lograr una unión de trabajadores agrícolas.
It also gives us the rights to advocate for a better way of working in the agricultural side.
Sabemos que esto va a ser muy difícil, va a ser mucho trabajo porque tenemos en contra a los rancheros. Ellos no quieren reconocer que nosotros tengamos este derecho y están peleando para poder quitarlo.
I know it's going to be an uphill battle and very difficult because we're fighting against the ranchers themselves who don't want to be able to pay this additional money.
Right, but you're a human being and we all deserve to be treated fairly in the workplace. And I look forward to you having, better wages, shorter days, more paid time off, vacation time, healthcare, things like that. What are some of the things that you think that a union can get like immediately?
Bueno, el querer, la motivación que nosotros tenemos de organizar a los trabajadores es poder tener un trabajo seguro,
Well, the whole thing about organizing the employees, the workers, is to be able to have secure job,
tener un seguro médico, tener mejores salarios,
to be able to have medical insurance and a better salary.
en respeto y no tener discriminación, también tener pues negociar las horas de
To be
trabajo
respected by not having discrimination, to have our working hours being respected.
Right.
y, y como dije hace rato, también queremos pues que seamos reconocidos como trabajadores agrícolas que tenemos derechos.
And as I said a little while ago, I would also like to be recognized as an agricultural worker who has rights.
Of course. What would you like the person at home to know listening? Or the person who's driving in their car listening right now?
Bueno, que por un momento se detengan y piensen que si tienen comida en sus mesas, si tienen estos productos que vienen de la agricultura, es gracias a nuestro trabajo, es gracias a manos inmigrantes y que somos humanos y que también merecemos estos derechos.
Well, I would like for them to stop for a moment and think that if they're getting vegetables and food on the table, it's usually by the hand of an immigrant, and we would like to have respect in our rights.
Right.
Que, bueno, la gente que consume los productos lácteos tienen que saber que el proceso de, de estos productos llegar a sus mesas es muy difícil y que nosotros merecemos tener derechos.
Well, I wanted people to know that those dairy products that they consume, they are very hard and difficult to be able to get to them. And, you know, we would like to be able to be respected and have the ability to do the job, um, because it's something that it's not being allowed or known that it comes from immigrants.
Me gustaría que la gente sea consciente de que lo que nosotros pedimos no es caridad, que lo que nosotros pedimos es solamente justicia, ¿no? Y respeto y tener, pues, ser parte de la sociedad.
I just want people to know that, we don't want any charity. What we're asking is not charity. It's what we deserve. It is a very hard job, and we believe that we're asking what is fair.
Do you get lunch breaks? Like what is it like? Like what do you?
Ah, bueno, eh, como le dije, ¿no? Hay ranchos donde los patrones a estas alturas ya están siendo conscientes de que el trabajador tiene que tomar un break para su lunch.
Well, like I was saying, right now there are some ranchers who are being conscious about the fact that the workers do need to be able to take a break or a lunch.
Okay.
Pero también hay lugares donde eh, hay mucho trabajo, donde hay poca gente y hay gente que no les da tiempo ni siquiera de comer, ni siquiera de tomar media hora para comer. Entonces, todo esto tiene que cambiar.
There are other places, many others right now, where they have very few employees and they are so overloaded with work that they don't even get a 30-minute break to be able to have lunch, so they don't eat.
How do people find out about working, at on the farms? Like how do they recruit?
Bueno, siempre conoce uno a alguien en un rancho. Luego esta persona trae a otro conocido, a un amigo, a un primo.
Well, you always know somebody at some ranch, and then that person brings somebody else, a friend, a cousin, something like that.
Are you paid minimum wage?
Sí, el sueldo mínimo por hora entrando es el mínimo siempre.
Yeah, the minimum when you come in, it's always the minimum.
Okay. In New York State, it went up to 15 this year and it will go up next year as well. Um well, thank you so much.
Eh, y, y, y también que hay una asociación de rancheros que que está luchando y que está poniendo una demanda para poder quitar de la ley el derecho a organizar uniones.
And there's also an organization of ranchers who are organizing to be able to block what we're doing.
Wow. All right. So one more time, what is the Alianza's actual name?
Alianza Agrícola.
Can the public support the Alianza in any way?
Bueno, yo creo que toda persona que quiere ser aliado y eh, también aparte de poder eh, hacer educación a la comunidad sobre nuestro trabajo y sobre nuestra organización, eh, parte de lo que nosotros hacemos es abogacía. Entonces los aliados pueden hacer abogacía con nosotros para cambiar las leyes.
Well, some of the thing is the people who believe themselves to be allies of us, they can help us by spreading the word of the importance of our work, and maybe trying to provide information and guidance, which is what we do with the organization. And that way that can lead to change.
Are there any bills that we can support that are coming federal or statewide?
Bueno, enfocamos más en legislaciones a nivel del estado para poder beneficiar la comunidad inmigrante.
Well, we focus on bills at the state level so that it can, in that case, be able to provide more help directly to the immigrant.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Fernando. Thank you so much, Carlos, for taking your time tonight.
Gracias por el interés en querer apoyar y difundir la voz de nosotros como trabajadores.
Well, thank you for being able to help us and give us a voice to us, the workers, and trying to help us out.
Oh, most definitely. All right. Have a good night.
Igualmente, y gracias.
Same to you.
That concludes this episode of Workers Rock. Thank you for listening.